On July 17, 1996, TWA Flight 800 accelerated down the runway at John F. Kennedy International Airport. The weather was clear, the winds were light, and the transatlantic departure proceeded according to schedule. In the cockpit sat an experienced crew, led by a captain with 17,000 flight hours. They had executed their pre-flight mechanical checklists with rhythmic precision. Every engine and system appeared to be operating within standard parameters. 12 minutes later, as the aircraft climbed through 13,000 feet, Regional Air Traffic Control monitored its predictable progress. Then, the radar return ceased entirely. 230 people were gone. The sudden loss of a commercial airliner over the Atlantic immediately presented a challenge to investigators, determining whether the destruction was the result of a deliberate attack or a catastrophic mechanical failure. To find the answer, engineers had to retrieve the shattered aircraft from the ocean floor and rebuild its physical skeleton. Only by mapping the destruction in 3 dimensions could they systematically test 3 distinct failure hypotheses: an internal explosive, an external missile, or a mechanical fault. The initial step required mapping a sprawling underwater graveyard. Elite Navy divers and remote-operated vehicles spent weeks navigating dangerous currents and near-zero visibility to locate the dispersed debris. Piece by piece, salvage crews winched massive, twisted sections of aluminum from the dark water, loading them onto transport vessels bound for a high-security facility in New York. Inside the Calverton hangar, forensic scientists built a custom 3-dimensional steel frame. They began wrapping salvaged aluminum around this sign, painstakingly rebuilding the Boeing 747. This spatial map allowed engineers to trace destructive forces, analyzing metal fractures and documenting specific soot deposition patterns across the airframe. The rebuilt fuselage provided an unyielding physical record of the aircraft's final milliseconds. With this baseline established, investigators could rigorously evaluate the first major hypothesis, an onboard bomb. The theory of an explosive device detonating inside the passenger cabin or cargo hold was the primary focus for the FBI and NTSB. Early laboratory tests did detect trace amounts of explosive residue on 3 isolated pieces of the recovered floor structure. However, forensic review revealed that this specific 747 had been used in military troop transport exercises years prior. The chemical traces were remnants of those operations, not evidence of a new device. More importantly, a high-explosive detonation leaves mandatory metallurgical signatures. The expanding shockwave forces the metal to exhibit gas pitting, hot gas washing, and outward pedaling vectors. The reconstructed aluminum showed none of these features. The fractures were entirely clean, which eliminated an internal explosive as a viable cause. The second hypothesis centered on a surface-to-air missile strike, driven by dozens of credible eyewitness accounts of a streak of light rising from the horizon toward the aircraft. Physical wreckage recovered from the site directly contradicted these accounts. Investigators found no anomalous radar tracks, no shrapnel entry wounds, and no propellant residue. Structural deformation in the rebuilt center section showed that the aircraft broke from the inside out, specifically originating within the center wing fuel tank. To explain the eyewitness observations, the NTSB conducted an aerodynamic analysis. After the initial internal explosion shearing off the nose section, the crippled, burning aircraft temporarily pitched up, executing a vertical climb before stalling. Forensic engineering proved that the suspected missile strike was an optical illusion created by the dying aircraft's fiery ascent. With external weapons ruled out, investigators looked strictly for an internal mechanical fault. The final, confirmed cause emerged as a specific combination of thermodynamics and a mechanical vulnerability. Delayed on the tarmac at JFK, the aircraft's air conditioning units ran for hours directly beneath the center wing fuel tank. This heat transfer transformed the remaining jet fuel into an agitated vapor cloud, reaching a critical ignition threshold. The vapor required an ignition source. Investigators isolated a short circuit located entirely outside the fuel tank. High voltage from this short circuit bridged across to a low-voltage wiring bundle belonging to the fuel quantity indication system. These wires ran directly inside the vapor-filled tank. This high-voltage surge delivered a spark into the superheated vapor. The resulting ignition created an overpressure event, causing the inside-out structural failure, destroying the aircraft. Despite intense early suspicion, the physical evidence was unyielding. The reconstruction isolated an internal mechanical explosion, disproving the theory of malicious external force. This finding forced a shift in aviation safety, moving from reactive mechanical maintenance to the active control of internal fuel tank atmospheres. This schematic illustrates the NTSB's safety mandate, the mandatory implementation of nitrogen-inerting systems. The system pumps inert nitrogen gas into the empty space of a fuel tank, displacing the ambient oxygen. By removing oxygen from the environment, engineers eliminate one leg of the fire triangle. Even if an electrical short circuit occurs, the atmospheric chemistry makes vapor ignition impossible. By prioritizing forensic metallurgy over visual assumptions, investigators identified the specific failure that destroyed the aircraft and established a rigorous safety standard to prevent a recurrence. The investigation of Flight 800 resulted in a definitive physical map of a mechanical failure, but forensic science was soon tested by a threat that left no debris field to analyze. A deadly biological weapon was quietly distributed, slipping through the domestic United States mail stream inside handwritten letters. The distribution resulted in 5 deaths, the paralysis of the national postal system, and the transformation of a daily routine into a moment of panic. And despite years of investigation, the perpetrator of America's most paralyzing biological attack would remain a ghost.
Some stories should never be uncovered.